Hello peoples, in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the Syulen, the latest and greatest alien ship that CIG just recently released not too long ago as a starter ship. Has alien tags, so it's a little on the pricey side for a starter ship, but it's kind of cool looking. We're going to see if it's got the balls to be able to handle bounty hunting missions, because that's what you're going to do. So things like VHRTs and ERTs. With that said, let's take a look at the build we have today. You can see I've swapped out the weapons for cannons, I've upgraded the shields, the power plant, and of course the quantum drive. Missiles stayed the same, there's no need to swap them out. Take a look at our DPS here for guns, 794, and for missiles, 28,544. Make a mental note of that because we're going to compare this with some other ships. You can currently purchase the Syulen by itself for $65 and $85 if you get a game starter pack, so not bad. Now, we've got two other ships that we're going to look at that can also be purchased as starter ships, and the first one needs no introduction. It's going to be the Titan. So if we take a look here, we've tried to match the Titan up with as best as possible the same build on the Syulen. The big point here is take a look at the DPS and the missile DPS. Slightly a little bit more DPS on guns, not as much for missiles. Looking at the price point, $60 for the standalone ship, $75 for the game package, and of course we have another one to take a look at, which is probably a better buy as far as its performance and everything, but you decide. We've got the Reliant Tana. So here we've got more DPS in the guns, obviously, because there's more guns on this ship, and a lot more missiles. So everything else is the same as far as matchups. Now the big thing here is the 1,178 DPS for the weapons and the 47,574 for the missiles because of the extra missiles. So this thing can definitely handle it. As far as our price point goes, $75 for a standalone. There is no game package. Now, this is the part where you get yourself a snack, a tasty beverage, you sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay, so for our first mission, we're going to look at the VHRT, and we have a Constellation, a C2, and a Reclaimer as our first targets. We're going to go after the Constellation first because they're fairly easy to pop in these VHRTs, and we want to take out as much of the firepower from this group as we can very quickly. So as I go to work here, you're going to notice that my shields are flashing a lot. The front cross-section of this ship is going to catch a lot, and I do mean a lot, of enemy fire from turrets and other ships. If you pay attention here, you'll see that the Connie's shooting at me, and the turret, it looks like it's going straight off to my left-hand side, and normally in a smaller ship you would be able to avoid that, but because the cross-section of this ship is so big, it just hits. You know, despite the fact that you're going to be boosting left, right, up, down, corkscrews, you're just going to catch a lot of fire here. So the first rule of thumb is try to keep an eye on your shields and don't let them go down. The Syulen is a pretty decent starter ship. It's got two shields, so you do have some shield power there, but you're going to find that when you're hit with a larger caliber weapon, like, you know, a size 3 or a size 4, that those shields can only do so much to you know, prevent from that weapon damage getting through. So what we're going to do is go after the Reclaimer next, because again it's an easier target to take out, and what we want to do is just sit here and try our best not to get hit and whittle down that rear shield and then start chewing into the superstructure. So it's not too hard to do. You can basically do it, but again, you can see that my shields are going down despite the fact that I'm strafing to the right pretty decently. You're going to see me add a little bit of boost every now and then when I can, but it doesn't stop the Syulen from basically face tanking a lot of these rounds from the turrets on the various ships that you're going to be facing. You just really can't seem to avoid them. And again, this is a starter ship. You know, this isn't an Arrow. It's not a F-8C Lightning. It's a alien ship that's pretty chunky when you look at it and you get right down to it. So now that we dispatched the Reclaimer, we're going to go after the C2. I did notice that the C2 Not too difficult to take out, provided you stay on top and behind and just try to watch out for those larger guns that it has in the front at the pilot control. Again, this is an NPC ship, so their aim's not too good, but again, I did catch more rounds than I expected to in this ship, and that's just because it's a chunky little ship. Still cool looking though. So we're gonna, continue to whittle this guy down. You want to do your best to try and stay out of the firing arc of either the rear or the front guns, like I'm trying to do here. And as long as there's no other ships that are taking pot shots at you, you shouldn't have too much of a trouble taking out, targets like this. Now, if your VHRT draws a little bit more maneuverable ship, anyone that's been playing the game for a while realizes that a lot of the VHRTs at one point had things like hurricanes and that kind of stuff being thrown at you with a very formidable turret with 4 guns on it. That could prove to be a really hard nut to crack in this ship. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Again, we managed to take out the last target, and we're going to move on to the ERT to see if this ship's got what it takes to take on an ERT. So here we are in the ERT. For targets, I have a Constellation, a Corsair, a 600i, and an A2. Just like in the VHRT, we're going to go after the Constellation first because that's the easiest one to pop. I don't know why Constellations are easy to take out in ERTs and VHRTs when I'm playing in my Constellation. I'm fairly tanky and I can take on ERTs for the most part, unless there's some extenuating circumstances. But again, you're going to see my shields are going to flash a lot because this group is doing a really good job at staying fairly close-knit. And because of that, I'm going to catch fire from not only the target that I'm on, but from things like the A2 and the 600i. So we do manage to take the Constellation out fairly quickly. We are going to kind of break away a little bit, recharge our shields, go after the next target, which is going to be a Corsair, because that's the second easiest target to take out, and it has some of the heaviest firepower. So we definitely don't want to let this guy get a beat on us for any length of time. You'll notice that when I closed in on him, he made one running shot and took all my shields out. So you got to be careful when you're going after these guys. I probably should break away here, but what I wanted to do is kind of press the attack a little bit and see, can the Syulen take a couple hits to the hull, which it can. It actually does pretty well. Even when you get a pretty high amount of damage on the Syulen hull, you're still able to function fairly normally. You don't corkscrew out of control crazy. You don't really seem to lose a lot of firepower. Like I don't think at any point in time I ever lost any one of my 3 weapons, which is really good. So keep that in the back of your mind. You can, if you lose your shields, you can kind of tank for a little bit. As you can see, we didn't have too much of a trouble taking out that Corsair, but now this is where things are going to really slow down. Matter of fact, they're going to slow down so much that I'm going to speed up this, because otherwise this would be a 40-minute video. So we're going to go after the 600i now. We want to take the 600i out before we decide to go after the A2. And any ship that has a large amount of shield, a big shield pool like the 600i or an A2, you're really going to have to work this for a while. The 3 size 3 weapons, even with cannons on the Syulen, do a really good job against other ships that don't have a big HP pool on their shields. But without having a larger weapon that can really hammer down those shields, you are going to have to take a long time to whittle the shields down. And the whole time you're going to be getting pot shots. As you can see here, the hull on the Syulen is now red. That's a combination of me getting hit from the A2 with some of those bottom turrets, which are pretty beefy, and the turret fire from the 600i. And again, you're going to have a hard time trying to avoid that kind of fire given how chunky this ship is, both in the front and rear profile, as well as from top down. I mean, it's a big kind of like blob when you think about it. There's not too many profiles that you can present to your targets where, you know, cannon fire is just going to sail right on through. So we're going to continue to work it and see if we can finish the ERT. Right about now, I was kind of thinking maybe I should pull away and repair, rearm, but I figured, you know what, let's at least try to get this 600i out and not allow it a chance to get its shields back up to full strength and have to rework all this again. So we're going to continue to press the attack on it, and the whole time again, you know, I'm doing corkscrews, I'm, you know, doing my best to try and alleviate the fire coming at me by avoiding it, and you just can't really do it in the ship. I did pull away to let my shields briefly try to power back up, but I did not want to let the shield on the rear panel of the 600i go down, so I went back in and hit it, and with a little bit of luck managed to take that one out. So now we're down to just the A2. Now again, this is where I should have just broken off from it and gone in and repaired and rearmed and all that. As you're going to see here, it only takes a couple hits from the rear turret of the A2 to take my shields out, and right here he soft kills me. So yeah, you know, doesn't matter how long you played this game, you're going to run into ERTs where you just are not going to win. You know, it happens. As you can see, a great steaming pile of rubble here as I slowly fall into the surface of the moon. Kind of epic looking here. They did a really good job with the damage model. Now the good news is that once you do die and you respawn back, because it is a starter ship and it's a small ship, yeah, your claim time, 3 minutes. So you've got more than enough time in an ERT. I would argue you know, you're not going to have any problem whatsoever going in, refueling, rearming, repair when you need to basically complete the ERT. So now we're back at the crime site. You can see right here, right there, that that's the body of me dying. But we're going to try to, you know, save some face and take out this A2 with our starter ship, the Syulen. We're going to soften it up with missiles at range. That's going to help a little bit. And then we're going to go in and start pounding away again. And again, I want you to pay attention to the fact that even though we're going to corkscrew a little bit, it doesn't take much for the turrets on this A2 to hit us. See, look at that. They're nailing us good. Now, I do like that the AI is getting a little bit better at targeting and hitting ships. That's good. We want a challenge. But as you can see, you know, my shields are already down. And if I keep allowing that A2 to get up above me and I keep exposing myself to those turrets that are at the belly, because that's where the vast majority of the firepower of the A2 is, obviously, I'm not going to be able to last long. So I'm going to switch my tactics up a little bit. I'm going to try and stay on top of the A2, hopefully not get hit by those rear turrets guns that we have, because they're, you know, they hurt just as well. I'm just going to continue to keep working it with the cannons. The repeaters seem a little bit funner to play with because they fire so damn fast, but the problem with them is I don't think they hit as hard per shot with the cannons, even though it's really, at the end of the day, it's really the same damage pool. The DPS is actually a little bit better with cannons because you fire for a longer period of time because you have a slower fire rate. But the other thing to keep in the back of your mind is you don't have to hit as often with the cannons to keep that damage pool up. So here we took out the A2, but unfortunately the ERT did not complete because, as you can see, it still says to neutralize the character. So, conundrum. Well, after the A2 crashes into the moon's surface here, I'm going to go down and land. I'm actually going to board into the A2 and see if I can kill the pilot at the cockpit of the A2, but guess what? There was nothing there. So, you know, if you played Star Citizen for a while, you know this type of stuff happens, uncompletable ERT. So we're going to take off and go look for another one, I guess, and try to make some money. Anyhow, that's what I got. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think about the Syulen. Do you like it? Do you hate it? You able to do ERTs with it? All that good stuff. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notify bell for the videos in the future. Till next time, take care.